Welcome to Euractiv's Tweets of the Week. This week, CO2 emissions bear the brunt, Alex Stubb is out in front, EU offended by Jeremy Hunt, and Theresa May pulls dancing stunt. Today, we are supported by the European Parliament. It is indeed a Strasbourg week, and the big news was that MEPs voted 389 to 239 in favour of toughening CO2 limits for new cars and speeding up the rollout of e-cars by 2030. Nina Gill, MEP, said the call for a 40% cut in car and van CO2 emissions was ambitious, adding it's now up to member states to turn these goals into reality. Constantine Levoyanis said it was a big win for MEP Miriam Dalli, but that there are huge challenges ahead for the industry. Indeed, most people were pretty happy, apart from the car industry, who described the targets as extremely aggressive. Also in Strasbourg, former Finnish PM Alex Stubb threw his hat into the ring to become the EPP's candidate for the European Commission top job, much to the delight of EU politics nerds everywhere. Simon Hicks described him as hugely impressive. I cannot think of a front-bench British politician who's in the same league, he said. Even Burley Monster was inspired and remarkably light on snark. Qualified, eloquent, principled. But when have the EU governments ever chosen the best person for the job, he said. Publicly, his candidacy was even welcomed by rival Manfred Weber, but John Worth speculated what was going on underneath those smiles. Martini Seltzenmeyer demanded to know Stubb's favourite cocktail, but the general consensus was that the fitness fanatic is probably more into beetroot and organic kale smoothies or protein shakes. Finally, the UK was keeping the rest of the EU entertained as always. This week, British Foreign Minister Jeremy Hunt preposterously claimed that the EU is just like the USSR. The most brutal rebuttal came from Commissioner Vytenis Andriukaitis, who said, "Dear Jeremy Hunt, I was born in a Soviet gulag and have been imprisoned by the KGB a few times in my life. Happy to brief you on the main differences between the EU and the Soviet Union. Anytime, whatever helps." Of course, Hunt tried to backtrack, claiming, despite all evidence to the contrary, that he didn't say the EU is like the Soviet Union, before adding that Britain is very angry about Brexit negotiations.
And what I was saying is the EU was set up to counter the Soviet Union.
It's not the only one. Guy Verhofstadt described his comments as offensive and outrageous. Churchill and Thatcher must be turning in their graves. Theresa May, meanwhile, praised shipyard strikers in Gdansk, recalled the Velvet Revolution and the fall of the Berlin Wall, signalling that she doesn't agree with her foreign secretary. But that was entirely overshadowed by her bizarre decision to come out dancing at the Conservative Party conference, which totally dominated the front pages. Swedish Ambassador Torbjörn Zollström said bravo for starting the conference speech with ABBA's Dancing Queen, but the rest of the Twittersphere was more perplexed. Labour MP Diane Abbott said whoever came up with that idea should have been sacked. Shabab Khan said you just can't make it up. And in an equally bonkers move, the former Foreign Minister Boris Johnson trolled May by running through a field of wheat. Don't these people have more important things to do? Like Brexit? Matt Steinglass summed it up, tweeting this cartoon. And that's it for this week. Join me again next Friday for more prancing, dancing and chancing in the Brussels bubble Twittersphere.